We all know Pokémon Unite. You know, the Pokémon MOBA that I spent all of my money to be good at? Yeah, that one. Well, way back on July 30th, Pokémon Content Creator adrive announced the World Battle Entertainment Pokémon Unite, the biggest league of all time. Then on August 7th, he announced that the league would be open to 30 content creators, so I shot my sludge bomb. This was before they massacred my boy. And next thing I know, I'm in. The other 30 content creators slowly trickled in, some with more intimidating welcome messages than others. And at this point, I should mention that basically everyone invited was a Pokemon content creator and seemingly knew one another. So it felt like Alpharad, Altrive, and I were just kind of there.
Hi.
Anyways, all of us content creators were then randomized into 6 teams of 5, and how awesome would it be to team up with my 2 friends in the league? You've got to be kidding me. You're telling me that the teams were randomized and somehow these 2 still managed to be on the same team? I was even the one in charge of making sure that there was no tomfoolery going on behind the scenes, and this still feels rigged. Despite not being paired up with my 2 friends, I was still confident in my team. Composed of me, Agent V, Data Dave, Hero IRL, and Joe UX9, I felt like we had the opportunity to take the crown because the one thing that we all had in common was that we wanted to win. Some of the other teams did look a little stacked, but I was never worried. There would be no looking forward, and we began to prepare for our first opponents. Actually, before I get into the first week, I should quickly explain what our strategy going into the league was. Oh, and I should also probably explain what the format of the league was, huh? The league was set to last 7 weeks, where the first 5 weeks pit the 6 teams against one another in a round-robin fashion that would determine the top 4 teams. Those top 4 teams would then go into a 2-week playoff to determine who the WBE champion was. So with championship aspirations, we set out to craft a winning team composition. With Blissey as our mascot, our plan was to be bulky. We would simply not die. My role as Crustle was to use Stealth Rock and Shell Smash to steal as many of the other team's camps as possible. Running Fluffy Tail on this set would not only make it easier to steal those Pokemon, but it would also help us melt those objectives like Dreadnought and Zapdos super easily. Joining me in the top lane was V on Blissey. Bullying the bot lane, we had Hero on Slowbro with Joe as Ninetales. And lastly, we had Dave as our big DPS dealer running Greninja in the jungle. Our team was so bulky that if the other teams didn't properly prepare for us, they stood no chance of breaking through our giant yellow dump truck. Now, getting 10 content creators all together at the same date and time can certainly be a challenge, but somehow we managed to pull it off and everything was set for our first match to begin. Excitement was in the air as this would be the week where we started to separate the winners from the losers. Before we even got into the game, I had to sprinkle a little bit of drama onto my opponent's heads by letting them know how free of a win this would be for us. Now it was time for me to back up all the trash talk. Week 1, we were up against the Lucky Lucarios, who had a glaring lack of Lucarios on their team. Hey, at least my team actually had some mascot representation. At this point, the Lucky Lucarios felt that luck would be the last thing that they needed on their side. Overflowing with confidence, they all laughed when they looked at our team composition and our 2 Fluffy Tails.
Wait, they got 2 Fluffies? Oh my god, this is great! This is great,
Right, yeah, they have no flash, so we can...
Little did they know how vital those 2 Fluffy Tails would be to their demise. Team Tonka got to work early, picking up a few kills here and there, and by the time the first Dreadnought was up with a level advantage and 2 Fluffy Tails on our side, we melted the first objective and snowballed our way to an easy first victory. 1 game down, and we saw absolutely no reason to change up our strategy. Our opponents, on the other hand...
No. Everybody was not doing the call, which was literally, I dunk, and then we ult at Zap.
Needless to say, they were certainly scrambling to find the right answer to our impeccable team composition. Game 2 started and it was more of the same. Bully them bot lane early, win all the dread fights, do a little bit of trolling, lose the Zap fight. Wait, lose the Zap fight? Uh-oh. Kill them all.
Just kill them. Yeah. Oh, get Phil.
Speed us up.
Okay, so we didn't quite play that game perfectly, but we had been so dominant up to that point that we were able to just wipe them out after they stole Zapdos and walk away from week 1, 1-0. Definitely feeling like we could be the team to beat. Team Tonka, forever, baby. After week 1, the biggest takeaway from the other team seemed to be that Dave was a god among mere mortals who could simply 1v5 any team he went up against. And yes, I agree, Dave popped off and was a much better jungler than anything that they could throw against us. But the best part about this perception surrounding our team was that it let all all the rest of us fly under the radar. To all the other teams, they would think that if they can just take out Dave, then they can win no problem. It's just week 2, but things are already getting serious. Our opponent this week was adrive's team, and if you're unfamiliar with adrive's content, this dude has been grinding Unite. So needless to say, this would be a tough match. This week was also a personal test for me, as adrive was the only other Crystal player in the league, so it was time to go bug on bug against one of the best. And things didn't start out so hot for me. I immediately overextended in our first game and allowed their top lane to have a decent advantage against us after the first minute. Luckily, it ended up being a tale of two lanes, as our bottom lane was absolutely bullying them downstairs. The advantage that we had at the bottom ended up being crucial for us to break their bottom tower and secure the first Dreadnought, a trend that would continue to be beneficial for us throughout the coming weeks. It can't go understated how big of an advantage getting that first Dreadnought was. Getting Dreadnought early gave us a level advantage that snowballed into us bullying them in every team fight for the rest of the game. And this time, we definitely needed it. adrive's team was able to score big at the 2-minute mark, so we were all of a sudden in a situation where getting Zapdos was necessary. But remember all those big level leads we had as a result of the first 2 Dreadnoughts? Yeah, those extra levels came in handy here when we needed to flip everyone's favorite Zapdos coin. Match B, match B. We got it, we got it, we got it. Get out, get out, get out.
Go, 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 go.
All right, Crustal's out here. Somebody recall. If you don't have points,
top.
recall. If you don't have points, recall.
Go top on your own. You got top. You got
Yep. Okay, I'm recalling, I'm recalling. I'm recalling.
That's game.
Whew, we somehow managed to come out on top. Even after dominating for the first 8 minutes of a game, you never know how those last 2 minutes will shake out when it comes to Pokemon Unite. But what if someone besides me was writing the script for game 2? Perhaps someone from adrive's team. Yeah, you can imagine things might not go nearly as well for us. And that's pretty much what happened. Considering how well our first game went, we were very confident in our early game strategy and didn't think that much needed to change. As a result, the early game played out very similarly to the last game, highlighted by Dave absolutely breaking the ankles of 2 poor Pokemon that weren't ready for that smoke. Get
I'm
over,
dead,
Sim.
I'm dead. It's over.
I'm gonna dunk, I'm gonna dunk.
No, you're not.
Oh, good stuff.
Nice,
good
nice.
stuff.
Yeah, there
Get
you
out,
go,
Dave,
there
get
you
out.
go, there you go.
Get out, get out, get out. I'm
Kill
gonna try and
him,
finish, I'm gonna try and finish him off.
Kill him. Trust me. Let's
Nice,
go.
nice, nice. The first Dreadnought fight, however, did not go as planned.
Oh, wait, hold on. They're going for Dread. They're
We're
going
going for it.
Yeah,
Fluffy, if you can. Uh-oh.
And I don't need to repeat myself again, do I? You already know just how important that first Dreadnought is, so losing this when we had the level lead beforehand was really crucial and led to the game seemingly spiraling out of control. None of the coin flips were going our way, and all we could do was hope that the final, most important coin flip landed on Team Tonka. We even intentionally left the front 2 towers up, which would allow us an easy place to dunk quick points after getting Zapdos. We were certainly playing to our only win condition, but how cool would it be if I actually was the one writing the script? I think I'll just let this last Zapdos fight speak for itself. Okay, we can kill, we can kill.
I'm really low health, y'all.
Watch out, Crystal's gonna ult.
Nice.
I died. I got too bold.
shoot,
I got
shoot.
too bold.
if you can.
I made a really bad call.
Yeah, they're... Cinderace is
Gotta
just trying to
steal
kill
Zap.
it.
That's the only way.
Yeah. Cinderace is melting it.
Get Zap, get Zap.
I got
Get
Fluffy Tail
ready.
again, I got Fluffy Tail again.
Coin toss. Get it. Get it. Yes.
Run! That was pretty awesome, right? But what if I told you that the real MVP was not actually any of the 5 players on our team, but in fact, one little crab who decided to do a little bit of trolling?
Alright, should I stay on Plunger?
I can't get it. I can't get it. Dude, that Crawdon. I know, the Crawdon blocked me, dude.
Between that Crawdon stepping in the way of adrive's Stealth Rocks, Hero's Telekinesis immobilizing the Cinderace from being able to snipe Zapdos, and Dave slamming home a buzzer-beating 100, we managed to pull off the one strategy that would allow us to win the game, and somehow... we did it. We pretty much needed a miracle to win, but give us credit for doing everything we needed to do to find our one win condition, albeit with a little bit of help from our favorite crab. So after an intense week 2, Team Tonka stood atop the leaderboard at 2-0. You might have noticed that not every team had played 2 games at this point. Well, that's because people just couldn't get their full teams together. And week 3 would be the first time for both our and our opponent's team to fall victim to the WBE plague. A plague of substitutes. This wasn't the first instance of teams needing a substitute, but there was definitely a dangerous trend developing among all the content creators. Why show up when I can just get someone to play for me? I mean, sometimes people just told their team straight up that they wouldn't play that week in favor of just streaming something else. So clearly not everyone was as dedicated to winning as we were. And to be fair, I can see where they were coming from. There were no tangible prizes and we were just playing for bragging rights. But bragging rights still meant a lot to me, and I was determined to go undefeated and claim the title of the WBE champion with my teammates. Plus, I just really wanted to make a video over the whole thing. Flash forward to our week 3 match with the buffed Bouffalants, and only 7 of the 10 content creators managed to show up for this bout. So 2 substitutes were needed for their team, and we had to have one of Dave's friends fill in for Joe on our team. With an integral part of our team missing and a slightly different team composition to boot, I was a little worried that we might not be able to compete to our full, and we had our widest margin of victory yet. Okay, why was I even worried? This was the easiest week yet. After an underwhelming week 3, I was fully prepared for week 4 to be our toughest test yet. Ever since the start of the league, I had my eyes on this team as the team to beat. This team had 2 players who made content exclusively centered around Pokemon Unite, so I, of course, assumed that they would be no joke. But then I realized that the Dapper Dreadnoughts were 0-3. Huh, I guess I had been severely overestimating this team. However, that doesn't mean that I should overlook them because I still think that they have the potential to be a scary team. Oh, and yeah, it should be expected at this point, but it goes without saying that both teams needed at least one substitute. Whoa. They're getting Unite players from FaZe Clan? That doesn't seem fair at all. Okay, that was just some random viewer that they kicked from the lobby, but then they ended up actually using random viewers on their team anyways? I have no idea what's going on, but we've already been waiting for 45 minutes. Let's just play. So with Big Slim filling in for Joe on Ninetales, it was time to see if we could take down the Pokemon Unite content creators. And their viewers. Game 1 starts and it couldn't be going any better for both of our lanes. Yet again, we were dominating in all facets of the early game. Picking up kills, clearing out all the objectives, stealing all of their spawns to prevent them from catching up in levels. Truly, nothing could go wrong. Well, there is one thing that could go wrong, but luckily for us, we won the Zapdos team fight with ease and were able to pick them off one by one, allowing us to take out Zapdos with no threat of them stealing it. However, we did get just a little too overzealous when dunking our final points, and yeah, we all died. Somehow we managed to come back and stop them from scoring too many points, but the scoreboard reflected a much closer game than what had actually transpired. Obviously, after a dominant first game performance, we didn't see the need to adapt or change any of our strategy, which probably wasn't the best mindset for us to have. But we'd faced such little adversity up to this point, so you can see why it would be easy for us to get a big head. Needless to say, they made some changes on their end, and boy, was I not ready for them. Game 2, they ran their Lucario to the top instead of the bottom, and I was getting bullied. I had no answer and proceeded to get squished over and over and over again by this furry blue monster. Luckily, it was more of the same from our stalwart of a bot lane as they failed to budge down there. Unfortunately, that wouldn't be enough when it came to winning the first objective. They were able to use their level advantage to bully us into a corner with just a few of their team members, while the rest of them drove that funny little turtle into the sand. Once again, we were in the exact same scenario as week 2, where we developed extreme confidence after the first game and weren't ready to take a punch square in the face come the second game. But as all good fighters do, we got back up. By this point, I'm sure I don't need to tell you what the plan was. Steal the Zapdos, dunk a lot of points, and then run back to defend the goal zone as if our lives depended on it. And that is exactly what we did. This was really just the same song and dance that we pulled off when we played adrive's team.
We gotta do this. If y'all get this, y'all win. Get it.
Yeah, multi. Nice, go.
Good shit, go, run. You have to run.
Somebody go bot, on the top.
I don't know if we can do it. Break him out, perfect. I think this might be a dub.
I need tier 2. I'm going to
All right, I got it. Okay, now get back. So yet again, we managed to steal another victory and remain 4-0 without dropping a single game. Team Tonka had truly proven ourselves as the team to beat. Now This is the week that we've all been waiting for. Finally, I get to play against my 2 friends in the league, Altrive and Alpharad. Team Awesome was about to go down. All the trash talking and banter between our 2 teams had led up to this moment. We were going to lay it all out on the line for this final week. Well, For one of the teams, it was the final week. I couldn't have asked for a more perfect conclusion to the league. The last 2 undefeated teams would be walking into week 5 to determine which team would be able to lay claim to the WBE trophy. All there was to do now was make sure that everyone showed up on time. But you already knew where this was headed, didn't you? All of this talk about the substitutes and people not being able to make it to their designated time. Surely my friends won't be a part of that nonsense. You've got to be kidding me. I did my best to try and contact both of them before we started, but after 30 minutes of waiting, Team Awesome eventually found 2 substitutes and we decided to play it out. Without having the opportunity to play against my 2 closest friends in the league, this matchup no longer had the luster that it once did, but it didn't diminish my drive to win. Plus, this was the first time that Joe was able to participate in 2 weeks, so Team Tonka was finally back at full strength. For now. It's worth mentioning that at this point in Unite's life cycle, Sylveon had just been released and was mad broken. Both teams took advantage of this by having one on their team, but of course I'm going to complain a lot more about the one on the other team. The first game was another classic Team Tonka domination. Our entire team came out swinging and we were picking them off one by one and not allowing them to gain any levels. I mean, we hadn't even gotten the first Dreadnought yet, but our team was nearly double some of their levels. After bullying them the entire game, there was virtually no way that we could lose.
You lose.
Oh boy. So after winning every single objective up to the last minute of the game, we still found the one way to lose. We were up by 200 points before Zapdos until they scored 550 in the closing seconds.
What a goal! What a goal! What a goal! What a goal! What a goal!
And for the first time, Team Tonka had tasted defeat, but it was simply a scratch. Nothing about that first game gave us any reason to think that we couldn't dominate the final 2 games and walk away with a perfect 5-0 record and the title of WBE champions. But because we had to wait so long before playing our first game, Joe had to leave and we filled his spot with Slim. So we also ended up making use of substitutes. Game 2, we took care of business and yeah. That's about how I expected it to go. Dave had to take a short break before game 3, and what do you know? I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. Alpharad is here, like a true final boss, showing up just as you think that you're about to clinch victory. Ultrive might still be unavailable, but hey, at least I'll be playing against one of my friends, right? Right? This is where Team Awesome completely failed to live up to its name. Alpharad was just standing there while his team was huddled together discussing strategy right there. And his teammates just glanced his way and said, eh, and then turned their backs to him. I genuinely couldn't believe it. Their teammate in this Invitational woke up and was ready to play, but they just decided they'd rather play with their substitutes instead. I think everyone on our team was genuinely stunned. Any of us would have been really hurt if our teammates had just decided to exclude us so blatantly and out in the open. But the rest of Team Awesome just had no problem doing that. I know all integrity had been lost by this point, but wow. I was advocating for holding the lobby hostage until the issue got resolved and my friend was allowed to play, but unfortunately we started without him and proceeded to play the final game. In the end, our sheer dominance over the rest of the league became our undoing as we didn't see the need to adapt while the other team took some drastic measures to adjust to our game plan. Changing characters, rushing to the bottom lane to intercept Dave for an early kill, and overall winning a lot of the exchanges that we had won in the first 2 games. Despite all of that, we were still in great position to take out the first Dreadnought, and then somehow their Sylveon, one of their substitutes by the way, managed to somehow snipe it away from us, and the rest of the game pretty much snowballed from there. We ended up losing the 3 crucial coin flips that mattered, and our perfect record finally had 1 blemish added to it. But this one felt gross. It would have been one thing to lose to Team Awesome if they had been playing with all of their awesome teammates, but to lose to them after they told one of their own that they couldn't play, it just felt unearned. Let's just say that if I had written this script about a month earlier, I would have really painted Team Awesome as the villains, but as they say, time heals all wounds. Anyways, we were sitting at 4-1, and while we were no longer the only undefeated team, we were the only team who had played all their games, meaning we still held first place. Wait, what's this? Is the league over? I guess that means we win? Since we were the only team to play all of our games, I think it's safe to say that we are the only ones who can lay claim to the title of the WBE champions. I have no reason to believe that Team Awesome would have actually won their last 2 matches, so yeah, I'm giving the trophy to Team Tonka. I think I have the authority to do that. Overall, I think it was clear that Team Tonka was the best team judging by how all the weeks played out. Even in the week where we lost, we were dominant for 2 out of the 3 games, and it probably would have been 3 out of 3 if we didn't lose the first Dreadnought the way that we did. You can say what you want about me claiming victory without all the teams playing their sets out, but in this case, I believe that victory should go to the only team that managed to find a way to get all of their games played with all of their teammates. Most of their teammates. Since you made it this far, do me a favor by liking the video and subscribing to the channel because this was a massive video project and took months to make. Also, a huge thanks to everyone that helped put this video together. Links to their stuff in the description. And to my teammates, thanks so much for being amazing, and we definitely outshone the competition with our synergy. Lastly, huge shout out to adrive for organizing all of this, and while I'm sure that it didn't all turn out the way that he had planned, I still had a ton of fun and was able to make a lot of new friends. Anyways, Team Tonka forever!